All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have New Jersey's finest in the building. From New Jersey all the way to Ontario, Canada, we have Ness, also known as Rukus, right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Peace, peace. I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? Thank God for you having me on your show.
Hey man, I gotta say it's definitely an honor to have you on the radio this evening, man. Been a fan for a long time, man. You are a hip hop pioneer, man. So just being able to converse with an individual that's been there from the beginning is such a tremendous honor, man. So thank you for a little bit of your time here this evening.
Oh, I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? This is a blessing. You know, I pay homage to you for recognizing legends.
And also, man, I know you're a busy individual there, Ruckus, so I'm going to dive right into this, man, but I want to take you back to the beginning, man, where your crew actually started the hip-hop show in Montclair, New Jersey, and out there in 1982. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story behind that show, and of course, what actually made you originally decide to start that up, because not a lot of individuals really had the visions that you had back in the early 80s.
Well, let me tell you something. I came from Brownsville, Brooklyn, to Montclair, New Jersey in 1977. When I came to Jersey, before I came to Jersey, I was introduced to hip-hop from the Awesome Foursome from Brownsville. So they grew up with me, and I didn't know them cats was doing it, but they did it. And when I experienced the hip-hop and the love for hip-hop, I brought that to Jersey with me because I moved from Brownsville, Brooklyn at the age of 12, you know what I'm saying, to Montclair, New Jersey. And they ain't had no hip-hop going on up there, you know what I'm saying? But me and this cat named Stevie D, the Destroyer from the Bronx, he came out with a record back in the day, and me and him, we was the New Yorkers in Montclair, New Jersey, the 07042, and we pioneered hip-hop because the DJs that was out there, they were doing number club music and just DJing, you know, so we had to split them up, and everybody got split up, and we brought something to the table that nobody had experienced around there, and it set it off. You know what I mean? That's how that went for us.
And when you said as well how in the mid-'70s you went from New York to, of course, New Jersey, when you said there was absolutely no hip-hop over there, was there absolutely no hip-hop? Because I have heard stories that in the early days of hip-hop, it was very secluded to just New York City and the boroughs. But, like, there was literally no hip-hop over in New Jersey, eh?
It was hip-hop in Jersey, but it was more like in the Teaneck area because they were closer to New York than we are. But in the Essex County, we kind of brought that out, you know, like there was a lot of people that, you know, like pioneered, like the Super Six Lovers from East Orange, you know what I'm saying, the Mellow AC, Achy Coffee and them, you know what I'm saying, the Wizard G and them. They did their things, and we followed from their lead because they was in the early stage of like 1980s, the early 80s, when hip-hop was beginning for people in the area, you know what I'm saying? We was hearing it on the radio, but nobody was living that, you know what I mean?
And also as well, in 1983, yourself alongside the devastating Force MCs were actually on WHBI radio. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this opportunity, and of course, what was it like bringing hip-hop to the radio in the early 80s?
Let me tell you something. It was hard because we was all on cassette. We was all rolling with cassettes, working with cassettes. But back in the day, we was working with people like Shaidi from the group called Quasar. That was my boy, DJ Grand Quick. That was his father. He was my DJ. Rest in peace to DJ Grand Quick, you know what I'm saying? And rest in peace, Lord Maximus, Kerry Asbury, and DJ Paul T. Those are the pioneers from my era that don't no longer exist, you know what I'm saying? That's not even here to even experience what's going on right now. They've been going for about over 10 years and some. But, you know, rest in peace to my brothers, you know. And then there's only a few other pioneers from my hood that's like still around, like Easy B. You know what I'm saying? He comes from my era, and Buck Bills comes from my era, and my boy Ross Chillpick, you know what I'm saying, out in Florida. We want, right now I'm doing some Just Chill Entertainment / 3rd Street Records, 19th and 3rd. Here in the area of South Jersey. That's with the South Jersey cats. But what was your question? You can get that off again, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, I'm just running and rolling with it.
And I have to ask, well, what was the listeners' mindset as well after that show on the radio? Like, were individuals gravitating to it, or did it take them a while to really gravitate to the hip hop you guys are bringing to WHBI in 1983?
Let me tell you something. WHBI back then, it came on like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. You had to stay up, and you was in high school. You had to stay up that late just to listen to some hip hop that was on the AM radio station. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like for us to have the honor, thanks to my boy DJ Grand Quick once again, his father Shahidi, he knew somebody that was running that radio station over there in New York, and he played with the Youth Praise Hall, and he passed that torch to us and let us pass our cassette to them. But fortunately for us, it was all that. You know what I'm saying? The music was great. They played it, you know what I'm saying? They opened up with the world premiere, man, world premiere, world premiere. Oh my God. Everybody stayed up from high school the next day, and I'm still looking for the cassette to this day that somebody who still has it right now, because it can go in the hip hop Hall of Fame right now up in the Bronx. You heard?
And also, as well, jumping ahead of the timeline just a little bit, but in '94, you actually created the amazing EP titled The Unorthodox Styles. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story behind this EP, because I did notice on Discogs that it actually has a 2014 release. Like, did Unorthodox actually get released in '94, or was it shelved ultimately until the mid-2000s?
Let me tell you something. I had 4 record deals in my lifetime. I had 2 major deals and 2 independent deals. And when we put that Unorthodox Style together, it was me and my boy Barry Pendergrass. We was the hip-hop artist, and he's MC Focus, and I'm the Ness to the T. That's the Rukus of the group. And then in the background vocals, we had Vernon Lynch, Eddie Murphy's brother from the K9 Posse. Remember that girlie, looking fly, girlie. Remember that? Ain't nothing to it but to do it for those that can dance, clap your hands to it. My man, he was on the chorus part. My brother Troy Johnson, he was on the chorus part. DJ Grand Cliff was on the chorus part. Jesse McCullough, my management team, they go on the chorus part. I had a lot of members working with me back then, and we was getting it off because we was doing shows from Boston to Florida.
And I gotta say as well, man, it's such a phenomenal project as well, man. Like, I gotta admit, I actually gave it a listen. I have been listening to it for a while, man, and it's such a phenomenal, well put together project, man. It's definitely one of those hip hop records that you cannot skip a song.
I got a question for you. How did you get my music?
What I did, I actually looked it up on YouTube, man. If you actually look really deep, a lot of individuals, it sounds bad to say, they kind of re-upload the music onto YouTube, so it's mainly bootlegged copies.
Oh, you caught that from somewhere. You found me through there.
I did, yeah. And then also doing other interviews and other individuals bringing you up as well, but I did also actually listen to your music physically through YouTube.
I'm very humble for you accepting me on your show. You know what I mean? I appreciate you very much. You know what I mean? Like I'm booked for a minute. You know what I mean? But this is a blessing right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've been waiting for this a long time.
Hey man, I gotta say it's definitely an honor as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't want to admit to you I was listening to the bootlegs on YouTube, but some of those vinyls, man, are so hard to come by this day and age, man. Like, you either pay thousands upon thousands of dollars, or sometimes you just got to stream them, unfortunately.
I'm going to MP3 you a package, right? Because I did a lot of things with a lot of celebrities back in the day that was unreleased. Because I was signed, like I told you before, the 4 labels before. I was signed to Motown Records, thanks to Van Silk, my dude. You know what I'm saying? That's Van Silk come from the Grandmaster Flash and the crew. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that put me down and got me on that album with him and the original Spinderella. You know what I'm saying? So I used to roll with the Packy. I used to roll with Chill Rob G. You know what I mean? I've been over 45 King's House in Irvington, New Jersey, back in the early 80s before you became who you became. Me and Tretch, we've done things before. Me and the Naughty by Nature crew, that's my crew. You know what I'm saying? We have the Those Fingers, we have Naughty by Nature, we had Ness, Quick, we had a whole bunch of things going on. We had people of the Silver Unit. I have much respect for Lassie, Paul, Shaq Kim, Ramsey, you know what I'm saying, Phil. Those are my people, you know what I'm saying, from where I come from. You know what I mean? I come from the '07, '04 too. Rest in peace, Hussein Fatal, because I've done many things with Hussein Fatal and Ali Bang and the Outlaws. And those are my crew that I produced early before they even came out. You know, that's the legendary status that I have. You know.
And when you actually mentioned a few moments ago actually having the opportunity to work with Eddie Murphy's brother, I was wondering, did you ever get the opportunity to actually meet and work with Eddie Murphy as well? Because I do know that back in the day, Eddie Murphy was a musical artist as well.
No, I didn't get to work with Eddie, but I saw his car every day across the street from my house. Parked right across the street from my house because his brother was driving his car before it became his car. But yeah, I saw the Quiet Storm every day. You know, I didn't get the chance to work with him at all.
And also as well, you actually had the opportunity to appear at the 1996 Hip Hop Olympics. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind that iconic event, and of course, what was it like just appearing there that year in 1996?
I was signed to Casablanca Records and Filmworks back then. That's the same label as Donna Summer. That's the same label as Parliament, Funkadelic, and some. You know, I was the first hip-hop artist on that label back in that day, but the people that took on that label, they really didn't know what they were handling and didn't know what they were doing, and they booked me for something that did not appear. You know what I mean? It did not occur, you know what I'm saying, thanks to their not knowledge of knowing that they had to pay to play, you know. But instead of all of that occurring, I wound up doing music with the legendary Blue Magic, Ted Mills. Me and Ted did some songs together at Boom. And, you know, that gives me some status that I really appreciate them for even doing that for me.
And obviously the Hip Hop Olympics is an event that, as you already know, is an event where a lot of individuals actually show up to and battle and compete. For instance, Eminem is actually one of the individuals that is most known for actually competing at the Hip Hop Olympics. Did you actually, in the year 1996, the year that you attended, did you actually slide on through and actually meet any individuals or see any individuals that are now still currently doing hip-hop today?
I rolled with the Beatnuts back in the day. You know, remember the Beatnuts? That was Fat Joe and my dude, what's his name?
Cuban Link?
Ooh. Cuban Links. So that crew, I rode with the Beatnuts. That was with Fat Joe and Big Pun. You know, I rode with, like I said, Naughty by Nature. I rode with Apache. I rode with, I did things with Gangstar. You know what I mean? I've done a lot of things with a lot of people, like YG put me on. You know what I'm saying? I met Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy was not inspirational when I met him. He was a very negative individual, but it's all good though. I'm not leave that alone, but it's all good, you know.
And also as well, you mentioned a few moments ago about how you had the opportunity to produce for Tupac's hip hop group, The Outlaws. I also read as well that you actually had the opportunity to produce 8 separate songs. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about what project you actually produced 8 tracks on, and of course, what was it like just working alongside the Outlaws, man? Because a lot of them are from New Jersey, of course.
Yo, them my Jones is what we call them, my youngins. You know what I'm saying? And they came around, and they from my area. I didn't have no clue, no idea that I helped pioneer their lives because they followed our lead. You know what I'm saying? Me and Easy D and you know Buff Bills, they followed our leads. The ones that's from LeClaire that was doing things on the hip hop tip, and I had no problem with doing things for Hussein Fatal. Fatal was the number one cat, you know, that grew up from around my way, thanks to Ali Bang and thanks to Merciless X and thanks to Dirty Bird. You know what I'm saying? Those are cats that even Yafi Gaddafi, Tupac's brother, you know what I'm saying, half brother, thanks to them, they came to me early in the 94, 93 area when I lived maybe about 5 blocks away from where they lived. And I couldn't even get to Bloomfield Avenue, without them saying to me, yo, Ness, I'm trying to get some music done. I need some beats. Boom, boom, boom. Where you get your beats from? My bad. I opened up my mouth and told them I had a studio in my bedroom. What? That's all I had to hear. That's all they had to hear for them. I took them to my crib, and when we got to my crib, I played a beat. Fatal dropped on that beat. He said, "This, go to the next one. Got another one? Go to the next one. Go to the next one. 8 beats in a row. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one." And then he said, "Go back to them." So he put the ad-libs on all of them. Boom, boom, boom. Go back to that one. He said, "You put the flavor in." I'm like, my God, yo, it's like, this dude, like, yo, in like 2 hours did 8 songs. And then the next day, the whole crew comes to me on a single day. Yo, I need some. Oh my God, yo. I never can go outside. I couldn't go outside. They kept me hostage for a minute. But all them songs that I did for them wound up on Tupac's songs. So them verses that I was getting them, you know what I'm saying? I was getting them ready for all of that. Setting them up for the, and they was studio ready for when they jumped on their verses. They went up on them songs. But yeah, I'm proud to say that I work with them cats, yo. I love them cats, you know what I'm saying? From the 07, 04 too, you heard? Representing.
And obviously, of course, man, unfortunately, you know, Yaki Gaddafi, he lost his life very tragically before his career really had the opportunity to flourish. For the individuals that are kind of like in the newer generation that never really had the opportunity to really soak in what Yaki Gaddafi was really bringing to the hip-hop culture during those times, could you just tell us a little bit more about what Yaki Gaddafi was like, obviously behind the camera and behind the scenes, because you were obviously there working with him one-on-one?
Yaf was thug life. For real, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you see him, and if you don't know him, you walk across the street because you don't know him. I ain't gonna lie to you, he's legit, you know what I'm saying? He was legit. I ain't gonna lie to you, you know what I'm saying? It's the truth. And on that music tip, he brought that shit to Fatal on him, you know what I'm saying? He the one that hooked Pop up, you know what I'm saying? He was living in the Claire, you know what I'm saying? We didn't know that cat, you know what I'm saying? Montclair didn't have nobody there outside of me and Grand Quick and DJ Disc. You know, us people like us that was out and about, but you know, yeah. Yaki Gaddafi was the one that hooked that up, you know what I'm saying? With Disney. If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have been no Tupac. We still be out here just trying.
And also, as well, you actually had the opportunity to join the Beatnuts on tour from Boston all the way to Florida. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners just a story behind this tour, and of course, what was one of your most fondest memories on the road? Because I do know when a tour goes down, there's always some crazy shit that happens while on the road.
Yo, let me tell you something. We was up in Boston, right? I had a ball in Boston. It's like we was performing. I ain't never had all these. I don't know how many people there was. Because I'm rushing to get a signed autograph or anything. They was asking for autographs and everything. I mean, it's like, yo, it was a good trip to Boston. You know what I'm saying? But then we wound up in. I did stuff in Rhode Island already. Rhode Island was a blessing. Was out of time. So God, that was a blessing. So back then I was a graffiti artist. I was doing my graffiti before, you know what I'm saying? Like while the DJ, and I had like an easel set up, and I had my little paintings right there with graffiti on. You know, the people had I'm trying to get something downstairs before I left their place. So that was fun. Rhode Island was nice. Connecticut was nice. The Bronx was real nice. I did the show up in the Bronx with Naughty by Nature, King's Son, Tim Dog. Who else was up in there? Chava Ranks. Who else was performing that day? With Black Sheep. Yeah, it was a nice little show I did up there. But to get up to Baltimore, Maryland with the Beatnuts, they got wild from the Beatnuts to Rich in Washington, D.C. Yo, to tour is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it wears you out. You know what I'm saying? I started kind of late. You know what I'm saying, in the game. I was early in the game in 1978, 79. I started messing around with writing rhymes and stuff. But to be becoming somebody here in 2022, like, you know, I'm talking about 40 some odd years later. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, dude, we ain't got it no more to be jumping around doing. I do some cameo shit, doing people's stuff, doing Q&D. You know what I mean? I jump on some music, but as far as me doing a show every night in different states, nah, homie, I'm not him anymore. You know?
And I gotta say as well, it definitely sounded like it was a phenomenal time, man. Like, you can never go wrong with just traveling, especially because when it comes to stuff like that, a tour is obviously it's business, but at the end of the day, you get to hang out with your friends and do what you love, right? So at the end of the day, it's not really work; it's just kind of play.
Man, it was play for me when we was in Florida. It was play, but we were shooting this video, right? We were shooting this video called "Burning Bridges" that I got on the Casablanca Records and Filmers. I think I had 4 record deals. One back on Motown, one with Casablanca, one with Inside Production, and the last one was Chop Aaron Records. I had like 4 record deals already under my belt, but it's all good. But the funny part is, man, I got out to Florida. We shot this video. I thought that the sand, you know how you walk on the beach and you see the nice, crispy white sand, right? I thought the sand was all nice. I was just all popping down the sand next to the water, and I fell in the sinkhole.
But I have to ask, man, because obviously, you know, you're still very active. I know you still got your studio currently up and running and whatnot. I have to ask, man, what is next for yourself, like, in 2022? Do you have any new projects you're currently working on? Anything else you do want to talk about or promote?
I got an artist that I'm working with. His name is Moose C. And he's an OG like me, but he's a younger OG. And I'm working with Moose C on 19th and 3rd Street Records. It's all good, though, but I'm trying to get with the rest of the crew because you got Platinum P. He's just as nice. These cats are perfectly ready. They sound ready. I'm talking about Sean Rock. You got Garden State Pusher. You got Platinum P, and you got Moose. So those are the only cats that I want to mess with right now. That's my circle out here, South Jersey area. This is Atlantic City area that I live at. So these cats sound like us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm ready for that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do albums for everybody. So I'm on some underground stuff right now. I'm still behind the scenes.
And also as well, Ness, this is the time to interview, man, that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves. Just a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. But most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Rukus if they're not already doing so.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I got a whole bunch of stuff, a light list. My list is like, big up to the devastating force, C-Rock, MC Freeze. Big up to Easy D. Big up to Ali Bang. Big up to Doggone Ross Chilpit. Big up to Hail Medic. You know what I'm saying? Big up to Jesse McCullough. You know what I'm saying? People that's been in my camp. Big up to Daniel Smith. Big up to people that's been in my side, in my corner. Big up to Frank Poirier. You know what I'm saying? Big up to people that's been in my spot for years. You know what I'm saying? And they still, big up to Cab Cox. Big up to Troy Johnson. Big up to June Johnson. John Johnson. You know what I'm saying? The whole Johnson family, my family. You know what I'm saying? Big up to Judy. Big up to Nat. Big up to everybody that's been holding us down. Big up to Tanya Moses, my lady. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, though. You know what I'm saying? I got a team that's correct in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they're here for me, you know what I'm saying? And it's like a lot of people don't see what they see until they see, but maybe you're all on the outside, passed out, looking in, and don't know why. Don't know why, because why me, why not?
And I gotta say, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM airways, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. And hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
DJ Mortal, I got about a whole album if I'm going to email you for you to get that, you know, in the rotation so you can handle that, all right?
Hey, Okay, sounds good. If you send it, we here at 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM is definitely going to spin it, man. I appreciate you, Psycho Nez. And of course, man, we definitely shall talk again soon, man. But definitely have yourself a phenomenal night.
Peace, yo. God bless, yo. Thanks for having me on your show. You heard?